What's up, everybody? Today I bring you this fantastic hot rod. This is Chris Moellman, and we have a couple things in common other than cars. We both have Finnish wives. So mine is from the old country and his is from USA. So still, I think it has the same problems that anything else does. So tell me about your car. This is a what year?
This is a 1930 Model A, Ford Model A Sport Coupe. Originally, it was the Sport Coupe was a car with a kind of a convertible look and roof on it. Obviously, all that's been removed, kind of reshaped, redone. Car was built 12, 15 years ago now, maybe.
Is that how long you've had?
Yeah, I've had it for a long time. At least 12 years. It's basically it's just your straight up Model A sitting on top of Model A frame.
And so this is called a high boy, right?
Yeah.
And this is like the stuff that I don't know about, especially.
They call it a high boy. You can kind of see the frame is sitting
on top.
Yeah, the body's sitting on top of the frame. Low boy would be channeled over the frame so you don't see the frame.
Okay.
Typically, that's kind of the old school way they talked. It's got a 53 Ford flathead, 3-speed overdrive transmission manual out of I believe it's 4950 Ford, and then a 48 Ford Banjo rear end out of a pickup truck with some pretty deep gears in it. So
yeah, and this has some special transmission that we don't
yeah,
think it's really been done in any other hot rod, right?
Basically, it's the old 3 on this tree transmission out of 4950, 5152 Fords. Mercury's came with them. You let up on the gas and it'll shift into overdrive. Once you're over, I believe it's 29 miles an hour. I have taken this one, made a shifter for it and shifter linkage for it to work as a 3-speed on the floor.
Yeah, that's really
which cool. Took a little doing, but can be done.
Yeah. And it's, and this is typically done like your old school way, right?
Yeah, it was purposely built. I wanted to build it like they built them back in the day. I wanted to build a car. I built a lot of the muscle cars. I've had them. They're fun. They're great. You catalog order a car, you can put it together. But to piece a car and try to keep the car completely period correct was a little more challenging. A lot of the parts came from old junk cars that I had to dig out of the dirt, get a tractor out to pull it out to get parts up from underneath it. It was a challenge to do that, where you could just spend the money, order the part, wait for the UPS driver.
Yeah, it wasn't like that.
So I tried to do it period correct. Since that, I have made some improvements. I have made some changes just for safety and stuff.
Yeah.
The disc brakes in the front I added. Again, I was told you can't put disc brakes on a dropped axle front end. Well, you can do it.
Yeah.
It just takes a little thinking.
It sounds like a challenge.
A lot of trial and error. Trust me, I've put a lot of things together on this car, and I've gone down the road and said, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I think that's like the cool thing about these cars too, because there is no right or wrong what you can do. And I think like the coolest thing that I found that you told me about this car is the seat is like so comfortable in this, and it was very surprising to me when it came out.
Yeah, that seat. It was a late '80s, I believe, Dodge minivan, and I was just looking for a seat, and I knew the width I needed, and I just seen it, happened to see it sitting there. It was actually ripped out of the minivan. It was sitting there at a junkyard. I was just looking and walked over, and I said, yeah, that's about the width. And I don't know.
Sure enough, it fits.
Yeah,
and then when I look at it, I'm like, yeah, it's that second, there's like a small one,
it's the small
then there's
road.
the big one so they can move.
I think it's when the Caravan first came around. I think the minivan, or the Caravan, actually had the wood paneling on the side.
Oh, really? Yeah. It was those
kind of
classic ones that saved Chrysler in the K car days.
And you still see the soccer moms driving them.
Oh yeah. But this one looks really cool. I like the wheels on it, and there's so many different ways you can go about this, and then this just looks like really. Like you said, period correct, and the steering wheel, all the gauges and everything. It's just really.
I tried to keep it as period correct, not to really let it exceed anything 1960s. Obviously, there's some things that had to be included in the car. I wanted to run a 12-volt system, so I had to go with a newer GM one-wire alternator. a few little things like that. But I mean, actually, these carburetors are actually, probably been rebuilt 15 times.
Yeah. And you said the motor is from around what era?
The motor is a 53 Ford flathead that came out of the old pickup truck.
Okay.
So it's a truck motor. I believe it's 226 cubic inches or something around that. I really don't know. My father grew up, building these hot rods. Some friends of his, and that's kind of who I reached out to. Was the old school guys on, hey, how did you guys do this back then, and what works, what don't. I found an old book at a swap meet one time, how to build a hot rod. I wish I could find it. I don't know what happened to it, but it's the greatest thing, and it's the simplest thing. Yeah. So as you page through this book, I mean, there's just hand drawn illustrations, but I actually used it, and to locate motor mounts. You set the car together, take the car apart, set the car together, take the car apart.
Yeah, there's a lot of trial and error.
I mean, over and over, set the body on it, take the body off, and we went back and forth, and I learned a lot about geometry of suspensions, geometry of steering.
Yeah.
The first time I drove this car, you couldn't keep it.
Yeah, it's scary sometimes.
I bet if you went 45, 50 miles an hour, you couldn't steer it. It was bad. Went home, ripped the whole front end out of it, started over, and then, did a little more research on steering geometry and stuff, and knew what I did wrong. Yeah.
That's how you learn, by making mistakes.
Like I said, I've owned a lot of cars, built a lot of cars. Been building cars with my father and my brothers. I mean, since as long as I can remember. I believe I was actually painting cars at probably 12, 14 years old. This car was painted. My son and I painted this car. The wife and the girls took a vacation, and my son and I said, "Well, let's paint my car." So this was painted at least 10 years ago, and was never cut, never buffed, nothing. We just single stage acrylic enamel.
Single stage. Yeah. It still looks good.
I mean,
But that's the cool thing I like about it too. It's not like, you can take it to shows, but it's not necessarily, a garage queen.
Absolutely.
You can drive the shit out of it.
If
somebody bangs into it, which is probably not going to happen, but
no, it's happened. It's happened. There's a slight dent in the back corner. At a car show, another car was backing up and just slightly, softly rolled into it. It happens. Yeah. Like you said, I drive it. I don't try to go to shows. I don't try to, win best hot rod of the year. It's not a Riddler car. It's nothing like that. I'm a no-name person. Exactly. I get in it. I drive it. I have fun, and it does win trophies at car shows. I mean, there's a few car shows. Certain people love it. Yeah. I mean, this car draws attention. Yeah. When I get to a car show, typically I get away from the car for a long time because it's too many people come in, too many people are asking too many questions, and then I don't get to see the rest of the car show. Yeah. So, but it's fun with the rumble seat. We've had as many as 6 people in this car before, piled in.
That's what I want to talk about too, the rumble seat, because it's still amazing to me to this day that my grandfather drove one of these cars, of course, in the original form, but from South Carolina all the way to California, and he did it like twice. And my grandmother riding in the back of that thing for 3,000 miles. That's just unbelievable.
I have heard stories of people doing that and literally pulling over on the highway, dropping the oil pan off of a flathead, shimming the main bearings and rod bearings,
keep going.
And going. I mean, but it is a very, very simple engine. A lot of people hated the flatheads. A lot of people have problems with them. Are they as dependable as a modern day Chevy 350? No, absolutely not. They're a finicky motor. You have to get them right, and then they will run.
And what did this come with originally?
Originally, the Model A all came with a 4-cylinder, flathead 4-cylinder. Okay. It's a pretty good boat anchor. Your purists out there are going to hate me for saying that, but
it's like an indestructible engine.
Yeah, I mean, it's about this big, and it probably weighed as
more
much as that flathead, the V8 flathead. When I got the car, I traded a 55 Chev 2-door post car, just pretty much a shell, to a guy up in Minnesota for the body, the frame, the motor, the transmission, some oddball parts.
Yeah,
I
kind
said,
of a part.
Yeah, and we loaded all this stuff up in the back of my pickup truck. And we came home, and I backed up, and the only place to spread it out was my driveway.
Yeah,
You know?
just to see what you have.
So exactly. So it's spread out in my driveway. My daughter comes out, and she says, "Dad, what are you doing with all this junk?" I said, "I'm going to build a car." She gave me the look.
This stuff.
Then the wife came home, and she said, "What in the world is that?"
And why can't I park in the driveway?
So I had to, claim a spot in the garage. I had many cars then, so it was tough. But I had to hang some tarps and stuff because this one had a little bit of grinding to do, a little bit of cleaning up.
Yeah, I bet.
So the car, from what I can find out, what I have found out about it, the car originally was licensed and registered in Missouri.
Yeah.
Came up somewhere mid-'60s or something like that. Who knows where? That's where it dropped off, the registration and stuff. And then it was used in a body shop's advertisement sign. This body was actually on a 15-foot post for 15 or 20 years. And it sat up, and it was painted lime green, and this is what he advertised his body shop with.
And with top, no top.
No top on it. No top. He had a big, steel tube around this, and I think it was for support, during the sign, something like that. Anyhow. So I got it home. It's lime green, and there's all these parts and pieces, and I start trying to, set it together and look at it and say, well, that doesn't look good. And I went back to, I've got a bunch of books up on the shelves. There's actually in the Hot Rods book, you probably all can't see it, but there's a car that was built in the 40s that is very, very similar to this.
Okay.
And so I kind of, went to that look, and that's what I wanted. Actually, there's
It's kind of the model you used.
Yeah. It's been photographed a lot. It's been in some magazines. It's been in Minnesota, a lot of car shows. Been down here in South Carolina, up in Tennessee. We live in South Carolina. We go to Tennessee up to Pigeon Forge to a car show. It's 3 hours through the mountains.
Yeah. And the famous Greer Dragway, I'm sure
It's been there a couple times. They actually, last year, it won an award over there, too, at the 2019 Hot Rod Revival.
That's
the trophy from it.
Yeah.
So, it's a fun car. It really is. And it's been in parades. It's been...
No famous presidents have been in the back.
No, I haven't had a president in the back of the car. I don't think they would allow that. But anyhow.
Well, yeah, it's really cool, and I like that the window, you can open the front window, and then so this car has the gas tank in the front still. Is that normal?
Yeah,
or?
the Model A's all came with the gas tank in the cowl. The Model T's, Model A's.
A lot of people change them, or
yeah, most people take it out of there. When I got the car, I was going to put the gas tank in the back, and it's something I still may do to transfer some weight to the back end of the car. The car's pretty light in the back end. But I like the idea that trying to keep it original.
Yeah.
So I got the car, and I was doing, work on the body and stuff like that. And, of course, the floors in the Model A's were all wood. So, I had to make all the steel floor for the car and everything like that. And so I thought, I just wonder how bad that gas tank is. So I just threw some air pressure at it. And I think I put about 5-6 pounds air pressure into it. And came out a few hours later, and
it was still
there. And
that's the original tank.
That's the original tank. All the sheet metal on this car is the original sheet metal, other than those inner panels. Because the car, I did have the fenders and stuff for the car, so I took them out. I actually dished them in just a little bit.
Yeah.
The original Model A's were just right there. So that was really the only sheet metal change, other than making the floor for the car. The doors, the cowls, all this is all original.
Yeah.
Obviously, the windshield has been cut down. The windshield probably was originally about that tall.
Yeah.
Of course, Henry Ford was a tall guy, and he loved his hat, so he had to make sure he fit in all of his cars.
And when you got it, you didn't have the hood, nothing to...
No, I did. I had the fenders, I had the hoods, everything. Actually, I do have a set of hoods. The radiator grill shell has been chopped and lowered down. It's it actually should stand about the same height as the cowl.
Okay.
And it just didn't look right to me.
It looks sick now. I mean, It looks really good.
And you just find parts that work.
Yeah.
I have a barn full of parts that unfortunately didn't work.
Yeah. You can probably eBay those and buy another hot rod.
You could, but to me, I'll probably end up building another car. So I keep them for mock-up. I keep them for somebody rather than selling it. If you came to me and said, "Hey, I'm building a car," I would say, "Hey, listen, come on out here. Whether you use these parts or not, you can take them, use them for mock-up, use them for building.
Yeah.
If you want them, keep them."
Yeah,
I've got originally built the car with the wide whites, Coker tires on it, with the big white sidewalls and real skinny tires.
Which was a good look too, but now it's like you get bored of looking at the same thing, so you want to change it up.
They track.
This looks cool.
Those are bias ply. They track a little different, and then they're a little rougher. At high speeds. They would shake, and it'd be kind of the jalopy effect to them and stuff. And they're actually running on originally when I built the car, I had it on original Ford wire wheels.
Okay.
I wish I had some pictures of it, but driving the car with the wire wheels, it just scared me.
Yeah, I bet.
But everybody told me, we've driven on these cars for hundreds of millions of miles.
Yeah.
They're the original Ford Kelseys or whatever they were. Guy came to me, he absolutely had to have them. I said, make me an offer. And he gave me a set of original 40 style wheels.
Yeah.
That's
not these, but
no. Then that was the second set. Then these are actually aftermarket wheels that look just like them, and they, other than the back sets are different now, and obviously changing things around and improving things.
And this is 5 by 5 point whatever.
These are 16 by 6 in the front and 16 by 8s in the back.
Yeah, but this is the Chevy bolt pattern.
No, this is the old Ford bolt pattern.
Ford bolt.
This is 5 on 5.5.
Okay.
So it makes things kind of tough to buy. It's not your standard Chevrolet bolt pattern where everything bolts and everything fits. Yeah. So like the front discs in the front, where I had to get creative to do
get
that.
Them in there.
So, but I wanted to maintain the same 5 by 5.5 bolt pattern. I don't know why. Probably because I had the wheels, I had the centers, all that kind of stuff. So it's a fun car.
Yeah. And so, if you had to build it over again, what would you change?
Air conditioning.
Yeah.
Definitely would have air conditioning. I would like to build another closed car. I do have another car that I'm thinking about doing in the future, closed car, and that one will be more comfort.
Yeah.
Air conditioning, plush interior.
Yeah.
This
more
one,
of a driver's car, or kind of like
absolutely,
fuel injected.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The flathead I do enjoy. A lot of people don't know about them.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't
I
know
don't
what
know
they're
shit
looking
about
at.
flathead.
People will walk up and ask me, is that a boat motor? I've heard people
kind of
yes, and they did actually use them in boats. I've heard people walk up and say, "Look at that Hemi." Well, it's not quite. And people don't know, and if you don't know, you don't know. But it looks cool.
My automotive knowledge goes from to 1979, and then it just starts falling off from there.
If I were to build it again, it would be an automatic transmission. It would be a closed car. Keep the roof, put in power windows. I'd put in some nice seats, air conditioning, like I said, and probably build with your standard Chevy small block. Yeah. I wanted to keep Ford with Ford.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. But I hate mixing it up. I think it's cool in in certain ways when you see an old Lincoln with a LS3 in it or something. But I still, it's some kind of pet peeve with me. It's Ford. Why not have? Ford makes some
of course motors, everybody they all make good motors. It's just the aftermarket world is flooded with Chevrolet small block, and you got to remember how many of them are produced. They're just about everybody's got a Chevy small block sitting somewhere. I do. There's one sitting on a stand behind here. I don't know what to do with it. I'm just keeping it for a rainy day, I guess.
Well, let's go for a run and check it out.
Yeah, we can fire it up, and see if we can go out and have some fun.
All right, sounds good.
Riding around on the backcountry roads, man, the moonshine is used to run.
Yeah. What it was originally made for, right?
Should put moonshine in the tank and run it on there,
Yeah.
but it's a little expensive gasoline nowadays. Back in the day when it was readily available for nothing, you could do that.
It's nice out through these country roads, you know?
Yeah, you get some shade, you get some views,
Yeah.
comes and goes. There's every,
And I'm surprised that you ride so good for, you know, such a piece together project.
I mean, it's riding on 1940s buggy springs, so, you know, it's not that the technology was that bad, but it was not like the modern car today. You know, obviously, when this car was originally had friction shock absorbers, now I've got actual shock absorbers in the car, which help out, but you still don't have your independent suspension. Look out, Tony. That was a dead possum on the road there.
Definitely.
If we were truly hicks, we could have stopped and picked that possum up.
Yeah. That's good eating.
No, I ain't eating no possum. You go ahead. I'm sure there's some folk out here that do though.
Yeah. We'll get a hate email from them.
Yeah. Hey, I've
How
heard they're
dare
good.
you disrespect awesome.
I've heard they're good. I'm okay with it.
I'm still good with a good old burger.
Oh yeah. Nothing better than a good old cheeseburger. We like it, you know, right now it's the heat of the day and stuff. You ride around towards sunset right at dusk, and it's a lot cooler. You hit the cool pockets up here in the mountains and stuff, and it's nice. A little more relaxed to drive. You always get that one person though that wants to drive up right behind you to see what your car is, and see him in the rearview mirror back there bouncing back and forth.
Kind of takes away the vibe.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's kind of cool too, though. But
you get a couple, 3 cars out running together and stuff. We'll do that. We go up to Tennessee. We'll ride around. 3, 4 of us ride around through the mountains. It's kind of neat. People stop you, want to talk. You know, you can pull up to an intersection. Everybody's checking out your car, driving down the freeway. They're taking photos of you and stuff.
yeah.
It's a unique experience. I'm sure it's not for everybody, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something like, until I really saw this one, I was like, I could definitely, I have to put this on my bucket list now, you know.
You know, riding around in the city with it and stuff isn't as much fun, I don't think. You know, I've done that, obviously.
Yeah, I like these country roads. It's nice,
Yeah, I do
you know.
too. I do too.
Especially if you're out here in the south, the back country roads are so nice with the mountain views. And,
Yeah. It is a finicky car. You know, it does require a little bit of maintenance. You know, the flathead motor, they didn't come equipped with an oil filter. They did. It was the canister style filter. And when you build the hot rod, you take all that stuff off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not running an oil filter on the motor, so I do change the oil. You know, probably every 700 miles to 1,000 miles at the most.
yeah.
You know, I'll change the oil, and I run 2050 high zinc racing oil in the motor because of the flat tapped engine, so I got to run that zinc. And most modern oils nowadays in the synthetics don't have that zinc content that you need, and you'll just take the cams out of these old flathead tappets.
Yeah.
You know, so
See, I wouldn't even known all that.
it's something, you know, and I will run. I carry lead substitute with me. If you stop, you have to get some fuel and you get some ethanol in there and stuff like that, or I'll run octane boost into it to just kind of counter that methanol.
Yeah.
That stuff's real tough on these carburetors. The gaskets and stuff aren't designed for them. So
It just eats them up.
it just eats them up. Takes power valves out. Takes the accelerator pumps out of them. So keep a readily stocked inventory of carburetor parts.
Yeah.
Being that it's hard to find fuel with no ethanol or methanol in it nowadays.
That's a good sound too. What is the exhaust on this?
It's just 2.5 inch straight pipes. So there's chambered mufflers on it now. I used to run just straight pipes out the back, but it was
It's a little too loud.
it was too much. Back when I was younger, 10 years ago, it was cool. But now, the wife and I, we just, you like to be able to have a conversation in the car too.
Really. And
We
if
would
you
not
really
be-
want it loud, you can just take off the side.
Well, you take the header caps off, and it's all that you can handle.
You can wake up the neighborhood like that.
Oh, you definitely will wake some people up.
I always think it's good when your car